Hi, it's Tansel here, and today we're going to talk about the benefits of training your memory. Now, a lot of people think that training your memory is simply going to help you improve your memory, which is true, because we want to be able to remember things, or remember lists, or what people have said, or remember names, all these type of things. But there's actually a higher level benefit to training your memory. And once you start doing this, you start to realize that, hang on, it's not all about remembering things, it's much more greater than that. So hopefully I can shed some light on how to train your memory, but also the benefits of that memory as well. And I'll try and get some more and more videos on the actual training side of memory. But it's important to know, why train your memory in the first place. Because a lot of people don't necessarily think that a memory can be trained. It's just you're either born with it or not. So hopefully after this, you'll start to realize that I can train my memory and I can make something out of it. And I'll find out a bit more about the high level benefits. So that's important. So the first thing about training a memory is the importance of understanding visualization. Now, I spoke about visualization in my other videos, in the speed reading video. It's very important to understand how crucial this is, because memory isn't just repeating over and over and over again. You might think that you're memorizing something, and you probably are for the short term, but what we know is that the more you start trying to repeat things, the more it doesn't actually stay in there, because the more information you put in your short-term memory, what's going to happen is that the short-term memory get overwhelmed, because you can remember up to about 7 items plus or minus 2, they say. So after that, any more you put in, you'll probably just forget anyway. And look, same thing happens to me. If I try and repeat things to the best of my ability, I won't do really well. And in fact, I've tried last time and I got like three things I remembered. Whereas using memory techniques, I memorized 20,000 digits of the phone book. So the contrast is huge. So that's the difference between having a trained memory and using something that, like repetition, what we've always been taught. So let's have a look at training a memory and why it's so important. So the benefits there. Now, we went through a few examples of memory training in terms of remembering numbers and names. And this is using visual cues, such as, if you've got a name, say like John, you might picture John in a toilet, right? John and toilet going together. My name, Tinsel, Tansel, Tonsil, to remember Tansel. And we visualize that, right? So whatever that we're coming across in terms of words or people or just abstract concepts, the more we visualize, the better we get at remembering them. Now, what's this got to do with the high level benefits? So what I mean by high level benefits of memory is actually things like reducing stress, managing your time, achieving your goals, stuff like that, stuff that people don't necessarily associate with memory improvement. They think that, like I said, improving memory is just being able to remember things. So what's it done for me, memory? How the benefits come to fruition for me. So I can tell you that by training memory, I just initially thought, I'm just going to be able to remember things. But the more and more I trained, I realized that, hang on, I need to get disciplined at this stuff. I need to do it regularly. So it's helped my self-discipline. Because if I didn't train, I'd be, I'd forget like anyone else. I wouldn't be as effective. And especially when I'm in competitions, it wouldn't be cutting it as a memory competitor. So I had to work on my self-discipline. So memory training allows you to be disciplined in a way that, that hasn't been done before. I know physically you have to be disciplined, but mentally, it's a little bit different, because physically, that you have to start running, or you have to go to the gym, or you have to go for a swim here or whatnot. So effort has to be made there. But mentally, we could be sitting down, not doing anything, right? And it could totally pass our brain that, we could be training right now, or we're at work. People think that the memory training or the brain training can be done either after work or weekends or when I have the time. But really, you can train your brain at any stage whatsoever. So, for example, if you're at work and you're reading emails, you visualize the emails, right, as you read them. Now, it's easy to say, but if you've got a whole bunch of technical content, see what you can grab from it with visualization. Now, you'll probably come across those words that don't mean anything. But really, if you create your focus around visualizing those words, I can guarantee you'll start understanding more, and you'll start really not just improving your memory, but you'll see those higher level benefits of productivity and effectiveness. So visualization is really the key to memory. Now, I was invited to Iran to speak about stress a few years ago. And one of the key components I went through with the 1,000 executives up there was how to use your visualization to manage stress. So there is a key of memory training to not just being able to remember, but being able to connect a scene that you really want to, I guess, bring about in your mind, and therefore sort of live it. So I'll give you an example. So picture yourself, you're somewhere really comfortable, you're really happy in life. What does that feel like? What is it? Are you eating something? What does that taste like? Are you out in the open? Are you down the beach on an island? What is it that is really exciting for you? Really visualize that. And as you visualize it, the next stage to really train your memory and your brain is work on the feeling side, because feeling is what really gets you to connect. And that's what drives memory, that connection, that feeling. So, feel your feet on the sand as you're walking on the beach, or feel the weather. Feel other people laughing around you, or maybe there's no one around you and there's silence. Once you start feeling that, you start living in that moment. And what that does, it gets rid of distractions from other areas in real life. So if you're at work and you've got a ton of things to do, or if there's people driving you crazy at home, one of the things you can do is refocus your mind from these distractions. So you can refocus from the distractions by making up this story. Now you probably think, well, how's that story going to help me? Because I'm still going to go back to that everyday life. Well, here's the thing, just like meditation, memory focuses on the positive side, on the benefits. So once you start visualizing and putting yourself in that scene, in that scenario, your breathing is going to be better, your mind's going to be more open, you'll be more relaxed. And if you're in that relaxed, happy state, then whatever you do afterwards is going to benefit further on, and then ask yourself, what would you rather be in? Would you rather be in a negative state and put up with the crap, or would you be in a happy, positive state and then move forward from there? So think about that. So training your memory. Now, how do we, improve our visualization, and how do we train in the first instance with memory? Well, what I do is when I enter competitions, I memorize playing cards and numbers and, things that don't really make sense. And a lot of people think that's weird, which I could totally understand. But, I don't go up to someone who's running on a treadmill at the gym and say, wow, you're running on a treadmill. That's weird. No one does that, because people know that when they're running on the treadmill or when they're exercising, that's for a physical benefit. But if they're trying to remember playing cards or numbers and, binary digits and people's names practical, but, those things with numbers and, abstract weird stuff, people think that's, kind of, silly. So what we want to be able to do is, by training these type of things, and it doesn't have to be numbers and playing cards. I mean, just things that you can essentially use your brain to visualize and encode. So it could be simple as reading, as I mentioned before. What I give a lot of my clients is I actually give terms and conditions for them to read. They probably think, well, why the hell would you do that? Well, terms and conditions have a lot of words in there that are just totally abstract, right? So you'd have to read over them a few times to understand what the meaning was in the sentence. So by reading terms and conditions, by visualizing them more to the point, then you're training your brain on that exercise, that you're training your brain to not just visualize, but get a feeling of. Now, you're probably going to say, well, how am I going to get a feeling of, if I do this, then this will happen, like legal stuff or, things that are quite basic. Well, this is the training for your brain. This is where the creativity kicks in. You can use that power. We've got so much power in our brain that we can take something that's so dry and silly and make them really powerful. And that's what I used to do. I used to work in e-learning, and I've worked in online learning for many, many years. And I used to take boring, dry content, like your policies, your procedures, things like that, that were in online learning, and I'd convert them into stories so people can remember. And you put fun little elements in there, like if there's sexual harassment, you actually have people touching each other, or if you have sort of time management, things like that, you have people mismanaging their time, so it creates a bit of drama, and that's much more memorable than just reading a set of procedures. Don't do this, don't do that. And that's how learning should be. It should be fun, should be visual, and so forth. So getting back to training. Now, what do I recommend you do to start training your memory and seeing all these benefits? Well, the thing is, there's so many resources out there. There's a ton of resources, and that's how I started. I started Googling memory, and I came across so many websites and books and courses. So there's a heap of stuff out there, and there's a lot of people. There's obviously there's myself, and there's people all around the world doing amazing things with memory. So you've got no excuse whatsoever if you want to start benefiting from memory training, not just being able to remember, but the high level benefits, as I mentioned as well. So get in touch with the people, start reading the blogs, the articles, get the books. That's really the best way to start training and working on your memory. And please share videos like these, because that's really going to help people to understand that, you don't have to be born with an amazing memory. You can do some really, really good stuff by training your memory and helping others, which is what I've been doing for the past 16 years. And hopefully you get inspired to start training and helping people as well if you've achieved a bit of success with your memory. So, think about that. As I mentioned, this stuff doesn't take long. So start, just start. That's the most important thing, is to start. Once you've read or once you've experienced training for yourself, then the next bit is, well, what do I do from there? And that's the beautiful part, because once you start asking these questions, then you start benefiting from the fruits of memory. So that's it for this video. I'm just basically talked about the benefits of it, but really, once you start looking into memory, get into like I said, the books, the resources, all that sort of stuff, and get into training and practice. Because once you start practicing, that's when it really gets into the good stuff. That's when it really gets into the improvement, and you'll see the success as you go along as well. There's nothing to it. The importance is to start and tell everyone about it. Share this video, like and subscribe to my channel and to other people's channels. It's fantastic that we've got all these resources. Make the most of it, and you'll definitely benefit from them.